What's good, everybody? Welcome to Vulnerability is the New Sexy. We lost the intro today, but sorry, we'll get it back next time. It's good to see everybody tonight. I see we got people joining in already. If you're curious of what you're looking at, this is the show where I'm providing a space for Black men to get vulnerable and try to break that stigma around mental wellness and finding the tools to live whole and healthy lives. And we're going to do that by diving into conversations surrounding recent news or whatever topics need to be covered. And tonight we're going to use one of those topics. We're going to talk about the good brother Tyrese, who recently went viral for a video where he expressed his willingness to like shoot, stab, and kill to protect what he worked for. He was speaking to his baby mothers in that, but he also addressed any friends and family that had any eyes for his money or his fortune. And this sparked deeper conversation and about the emotional toll that relationships and life challenges can have on Black men. I myself deal with betrayal trauma currently, and I've done so in the past. And we're going to talk about that today with a good group of brothers. My brother Q is right now trying to get his headphones straight. Oh, there he is right there. My brother Q is in here today. Y'all remember him from last week. I got my brother Chris tonight and my brother Big Mac. And we're going to have some conversations amongst us Black men. Before we do that, I want to show y'all this video and we'll talk about it on the other side.
If you ain't learned already, I ain't giving you shit. Like I fought to earn this life, I'm gonna fight to keep it. Not giving it away to nobody. Ain't nobody gonna take this. I'm gonna shoot, stab, and kill over mine. I'm gonna protect this bottom line at all cost. I've earned it, and I'm gonna protect it. I'm gonna protect it as hard as I've earned it. That goes for all my homies, anybody in my family, anybody I ever marry again. If you think I'm about to just give it to you after I worked this hard to get it, you definitely got me confused. You definitely got the wrong one.
Y'all do not feel sorry for Tyrese because look at this number over here. That's Tyrese's monthly income. He makes $275,000 per month. And she only asked for $10,000 a month in child support. And let's not forget how when his older daughter graduated from the 9th grade, he gifted her with a Rolls Royce. His ex-wife was simply asking for the same amount of child support that he paid for his other daughter, but she was being reasonable with him. Well, Tyrese only wants to pay $3,500 a month in child support. The court said that's not reasonable because in one day, you make $12,500. Therefore, the child support he had been paying, they said, is not even a full day's work.
Baby mama number 1 and 2.
All right, man. So here's my first question, guys. I want to start with you, Q. I want to know, in moments where you felt that type of betrayal, that type of hurt, how do you typically react? I mean, do you lash out like Tyrese did here? Do you shut down? What is your normal reaction to this type of hurt or anger?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I don't make that type of money at all. So I don't know if this is the right subject for me, but betrayal is a it's a deep thing. You can go real deep into betrayal on any way you feel about it. Some people don't care about it, some people do. But to pocket watch him like that is definitely a woman's job. But if you really can't look at his W-2s or W-4, whichever one it is, bro, you can't really be like, oh, he make this much a day. Like, you really don't know. So that betrayal is deep, is cut deep when you talk about just how I'm trying to take care of my daughter in whatever way I can. So that's what I gotta say about that, because I don't make that kind of money, so I really can't speak on that like that.
Yeah, man. So that's what got to you. That's what got to you more than anything, the pocket watching.
Yes, man, the pocket watching, bro. Like, yeah, I understand. Like, this is your responsibility, but to try to dive deep into like down to the cent of what he makes a day is diabolical.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if anybody of course I don't know how y'all brothers move. I ain't watching y'all pockets, but I don't know if any of us gonna relate to the type of money they was talking about up there. But I'm more concerned with like when you get hurt, you know what I mean? I mean, you have broke people anger. You know what I mean? Do you well, you might,
Yeah,
lash out like a broke man. So I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm not calling you broke, but I'm just saying I've been broke and hurt. And
yeah.
the way I lashed out had nothing to do with my money. So that's kind of what I was alluding to. But
Okay, okay. Oh no, I get you. I get you. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I just felt the way about the clip. But
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
lashing
hey,
out.
hey, did somebody get you some money, Q? You took that, man. You went straight to the pockets, brother. Like, hey, what's that?
Yeah, that was nuts to me. But
Yeah,
lashing out when you hurt, that's you know what kind of story that's gonna lead to. Like hurt people hurt people. So if
true.
you hurt
Sure.
about whatever it is, like if you when you lashing out when you hurt, it might it might come off towards anger mostly. Me, I don't lash out a lot. It take a lot for me to lash out. Like I'm kind of a nice person, you know what I'm saying? I'm like one of the people that get took advantage of because I'm so nice, and then people start expecting it. So I don't lash out a lot, but yeah, I understand when a hurt person lashes out
Yeah,
because another person's hurt.
I hear you. I hear you, brother. Big Mac, man. Let me ask you, man. You somebody that works hard for your money, man. If if somebody who wasn't shooting with you in the gym, get to reaching for it, you gonna lash out the same way. What you doing?
Well, Joe, I mean, and I'll say this about the good brother Tyrese to make sure he's ain't out there threatening folks. I think he was just acting. So I don't take what he said too seriously. But I'm the type of brother, man. I'm about respect at the end of the day. So I think Tyrese was trying to get that respect and say, "Hey, I'm not a pushover." And I don't think he meant anything real threatening about it or so forth. But we as men, we have to stand on with respect, and we also have to give the perception and image that we mean business. And I don't make that type of money either. I work down at the gas station, and the tips ain't coming like that, man. But the tips ain't flying in like that, man. It's a bad economy right now, so
Yeah,
I can't, relate to that type of money. But it's not even really about the money because you can always prorate the money. And I'm a true believer that you do what's best interest of your child. It doesn't matter if he making $1 billion a year. If he feel like his child don't deserve or need that type of money to survive right now, then I believe he as a parent has the right to say what he's not going to pay and what he's going to pay. And we all know as men, sometimes women use the children as to get at us or to enforce pain and anger and so forth on us. But I just think he should even, and I'm the type of person I like to get rid of the problem. Just go get your own children, fight for your children, get custody, and go from there.
yeah, yeah. I can't say I disagree with any of that, brother. Um, Brother Chris, man, let me ask you, man. When you saw that, when you see that clip, does it remind you of any type of behavior from your past, or anybody hurt you deep enough for you to get on the internet and start, talking crazy?
Not necessarily get on the internet, but I've worked very hard for many years for stuff, and sometimes the people that I was working for that I felt should have appreciated the most didn't, and I did kind of hold some grudges and hold some animosity for a long time. Then I realized that um, I should have been working towards my goal, and whoever can keep up can keep up. But I think on his end too, um, I believe what brother Big Mac said too. I think he was fronting a little. It was that's Jody, So we we kind of typecast him as that. But I think he was trying to give respect. That's what he was trying to do. He overdid it a little bit with his toughness, but yeah. So with me, man, I've been in that situation. I feel him as far as like working hard for something, and then you bring somebody along who, in his eyes, didn't feel like worked as hard to get where they are or didn't as contribute as much, and then when this happened, trying to get that money. So I can understand why he's kind of feeling that way as well. And then also what Q was talking about as far as the money wise, man. Yeah, I mean that's you cutting deep because you don't play with somebody's money. And as far as that pocket watching, that was weird to me. I never even seen that. I watched the video, but I think I stopped it with that when that young lady came on. But that was kind of weird to put on the internet exactly how much you make and stuff like that. So that would kind of make me mad too. But just to answer your question, yeah, man, I've been in that situation before, and I kind of closed up. I don't know the psychological term for it, but I closed up, and I was mad at a lot of people around me for a long time. Joey, can't hear you.
That's my bad, Joe. That's very common, actually. When we don't know how to express our emotions, man, you know, it usually manifests itself as anger. And when I say we, I'm specifically talking about Black men. It's very common, and I'm not, you know, trying to put us on a monolith. As always, for people who are new to me talking, I'm always speaking from lived experience and the experience that I view through my work as a therapist. So the clients that I see, so that's very typical, man. Especially when I'm dealing with couples. And I deal with a lot of couples. A lot of times when the man cannot find the words or attach his feelings to specific words and actions, it always just manifests as anger. And I'm always trying to tell people, like, you're not really mad at what you really think you're mad at. And what grabbed me from watching this video, and I want to get y'all reactions, you know, was at first it was the shoot, stab, and kill over mine. You know, I'm like, Black man, you can't get on the internet and say that, man. Like, you in today's climate, you cannot get on the internet and say that. But then, kind of like what Chris was saying, when you move to the second, and Q, when you get to the second part of the video and that pocket watch, it starts happening, it's like, what are we doing? Now, what does this have to do? What does one thing have to do with another? You know what I mean? Like, he can afford his children. I mean, then that kind of triggers something else. So it's like, on one hand, I'm like, I'm afraid for the Black man. And the other hand, I'm like, I get it, brother. Like, they trying, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't with you. You were shooting in the gym, you know? So, you know, I can understand. But like, I'm gonna ask you, Big Mac, you know, do you see any parallels between like what Tyrese is talking about and like how Black men are often conditioned to respond to pain? Like, I mean, is it a setup basically? Did he get set up? Did he take the bait? I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, like I say, I'm a unicorn in the game, man. So I think a little differently, and I stand on things a little differently. So that's something that would precede me. What he's saying, people will already know, and I wouldn't have those problems for one thing. But in his case, in his situation, he definitely don't need to be talking like that as a celebrity online and you know, pushing out those threats like that. But I don't think he's handling his pain because, you know, I mean, most men, we are taught not to even show pain or even show anything is bothering us and so forth and so on. So I don't really think it's his anger. I think, and I go back to this, it's all about the respect. He feels like he's being very disrespected. They know he's a great father. They know he's going to take care of his kids. They know he's going to do whatever, but trying to rip a man money out his pocket and say what you want to do and what you're going to do with it and your kids deserve this. That's not how we raise as parents. If they were in the same household, it wouldn't even go like that. So, but we do as men, we need to kind of, you know, play smart. We already know if we're in a bad situation, people going to come at us. He's going to get come at. They're going to send the lawyers after him. He should already know this. That's just part of the game. So he should, you know, carry himself accordingly and just look at it. Hey, this is a big game. I know what they're trying to do. I know what the lawyers are trying to do. So I'm going to play it like this. I'm going to get my lawyers. They're going to push out statements. And I'm just going to say, hey, I'm a parent. You know, I take care of my kids. And this is what I'm willing to do or not do. And if he's not willing to go along or willing to get, you know, the finger pointed at him, make him look like a bad father, I go back to this. Go get your kids. That's what I believe in. Go get your children. File for, since you're the main provider, they want the money from you. go get your kids, and that way you don't have to get nothing from her. That's how I see it.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to piggyback on something Lawrence has posted there when he said, "What I experienced as a black man, you feel like nobody cares." Chris, I'm gonna throw that to you, man. Do you relate to that comment? Do you feel like it's just, hey, all that other stuff you're talking about is irrelevant? Just get it done. You can't.
Man, yes, and what Lawrence was saying is true too, man. As far as the black man feel like nobody cares, man, we've been stigmatized with that type of what do you call it? Character trait.
Mm-hmm.
That we're hard, we're thugs, we're all these different things to where we don't really need anybody. And I think society has really gravitated towards that, man. So we don't get the pat on the back some of the times, and we don't get the especially from each other, man, brother, good job, brother, and all these different things from each other. So yeah, man, I totally agree with what he's saying as far as I felt it before. So yeah.
Let me follow it up. You feel like this is an example of a man who doesn't have a community of men to talk to, so he goes straight to the internet? Like
that, you know what? That's exactly the what I was thinking. I was like, man, he doesn't have anybody else to talk to. Why would he? I that wouldn't be my first thing. I would pick up the phone and call Joe, because evidently didn't have nobody to talk to. So he's kind of looking for validation for his side of the argument, I guess. And like, hey, I need to go out there and show you, I do care. And this is what I'm willing to do for my family and things like that. Yeah, I really don't think he has community around him, or he doesn't feel like he has a community around him. Maybe some people around him, but he's just not receiving that. You know what I mean? In his current state of mind. And that's what I was thinking when Big Mac was talking, man. Maybe he doesn't have nobody to talk to.
Yeah, it's very high. Yeah, I hear what you say. It's highly possible that he might have a community you're not receiving or not listening to it.
Yeah.
But, Q, man, can you be this man's community right now? Tyrese come to you and say, "Hey, I'm about to shoot, stab, and kill over this child support check, man. Well, what you think I should do, brother Q?"
Man, I'll tell him first and foremost, I feel you, bro. Like everybody gonna go hard for theirs. I don't care who it is, it's your mother, your sister, your daughter, your son, your wife. You're gonna go hard for yours. You might have expressed it in the wrong way though, for the wrong type of people. Because the internet gonna take it, they gonna headline it, they gonna take it out of context, and then that's gonna be your character trait, as Chris was saying. Like, so yeah, I would definitely tell him, hey man, you just expressed it in the wrong way. But I know what he's doing. He's doing foresight for court, right? That's foresight. I'm sorry, y'all. My son just came in the house. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hey.
But yeah, man, that's foresight for court. He want the court to see what he's doing and how he's gonna react to somebody trying to take his hard-earned money, because he's gonna get attacked, regardless. By, like she said in the second clip, yeah, he bought his other daughter a Bentley or a Benz or whatever it was, and then the other daughter, oh well, you make that in a day, so you could get another one that. So it's like, to me, it's just foresight for court, so you could see like exactly what he going through. But yeah, I would tell that brother, man, pipe down a little bit, shorty, pipe down. You ain't gotta say it like that, but you could really tell somebody how you feel about your family and what lengths you'll go to protect that, without saying shoot, stab, kill. Like, that's a little extreme, bro.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I kind of cringed at it at first, man. But I'm as the video kept rolling, I'm like, okay, I started to feel it, brother. Like, I don't know what it is, man, but I started to feel what it's like to be like, bro, nobody's listening to me. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's considering the fact that, I'm human. I got to go out in this world and perform. You know what I mean? I'm not on stage doing the woo wah like Tyrese, but I still have to go out and perform. And then when I come home, or when I'm out in the world, it sometimes it can feel like, hey, I'm not a human. Like it don't really matter. You know what I mean? Don't mean to matter what I'm doing. And you know, so I'm looking at this and I'm listening to y'all, and I'm like, what would it? This was something that would probably calm me down if I sat in a room like this and like just express myself openly in front of y'all. You know, I know I'm not going to get criticized for the way that I'm feeling, but I'm also going to get the direction that I need in order to, you know, feel better or feel differently or be moved in a way that's not going to like further my situation and make it worse than it already is. You know what I'm saying? Like this didn't help.
But Joe, you minded me interrupting, but I just got one thing to say.
Yeah.
We know the system set up like that. That's just how the system set up for men. We all know this.
Explain that.
We all know this. We know the court system is basically against men. We know the women gonna normally always get custody. The women always looked at the best parent, and I don't care how bad the mother may be. The man still have to go above and beyond to prove that he's the best parent or the best responsible parent or the best person to raise that child. So the system been like this, the court system been like this for years. Public perception has been like this for years, decades. So this is not nothing new. But I expect Tyrese to know this and to play the game accordingly. I mean, this is nothing new. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about like I'm looking at like the sister in the comments, you know, he's saying stop marrying women for their looks, and some men don't want their kids. All that could be totally factual, but you know, is that stigma of marrying a woman for looks, or the stigma that placed on a lot of men don't want their kids, which some men don't. She didn't say a lot of them. She said some. I don't want to put words in her mouth, and she's right. Some don't. But the stigma is that most don't, right? And that's not what she said, but most don't. And that's already working against us. So when you walk in that door, them courtroom doors, like Big Mac is saying, you already 2 strikes, you know, as soon as you hit it, you know what I mean? As soon as you hit the door, you're already 2 strikes in.
Hey, let me can I say?
Yeah, go ahead. Chime in.
You know how it is with men, especially from our era, Joe, Big Mac, Chris. You know, like men wasn't allowed to express themselves. So regardless how he is expressing himself, he is doing that, and it could be a cry for help. So it's like sometimes we gotta take like vulnerability is the new sexy. Take the man that's vulnerable,
Yeah,
you know, and you know, piggyback onto him, and everybody hop on him, and you know, like in a good way, and you know, pick them up, let them know, like, you know, like you said, this is a good format, or some of his guys. But we gotta stop telling men that they can't express themselves, that make them look weak, you know, because that's the bigger issue here, because the man expressed himself. The issue is that he did, in whatever way he did, but he did. And so it's like he shouldn't be able to do that, but you know he should. Like if he feel like he getting took to the bank,
right,
then he should be able to express that.
100%. And that makes me come to another question. Oftentimes, like we hear the word sensitive, especially around Tyrese, right? Tyrese is very sensitive, and he might be. But let me ask y'all this: should there be like a negative stigma around the word sensitive when it comes to Black men? Is it not okay for us to be sensitive to certain things? I'm gonna start with Chris because I see he going to the part of his brain that's he already looking up and to the left. He going to that to that part of his brain that's working. Go ahead, Chris.
So you're saying, should we be okay with being sensitive, or say
like
that one more time?
Like somebody walk around and say, "Man, Chris, you are sensitive." Should you be offended by that or not?
Oh man, you know, I think I self-reflect so much, man. I'm always trying to grow. And so if somebody comes in there, I'm gonna take it for what it's worth and try to apply it. But I do understand not everybody thinks that way, and some people do get offended, but I don't think they should get offended. You should kind of look at it as, okay, what was this person talking to me about? And what area were they trying to say that I was sensitive? And maybe I was, and this is a time for me to grow. If not, if I don't feel like I was sensitive, then whoever they are, shoo it away. You know what I mean? So that's how I think. I would take it in and try to take myself accountable, and then okay, I wasn't, and how it is. But I don't think we should be offended by any type of words like that. Nah, personally.
Yeah.
I think that we were given, certain, like there's a time to be mad, there's a time to cry, even for men. There's a time to hug, laugh. There's a time for all this, right? I think when we talk about the sensitive stuff, other people aren't really seeing us, don't know our whole situation. So we may jump off on one situation to where they're not seeing the whole picture, and they say, "Oh, you're sensitive about that," versus taking the time to be like, "Hey, why did you act like that? What really went down?" You know what I mean? So therefore, if they're not seeing my whole picture, then I'm not going to even take their word for too much. You see you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it, man. What you think, Big Mac?
I'm like, man, heck yeah, he should be sensitive. Anybody trying to take your money or your kids, you need to be sensitive about that. Yeah. You need to cry, you need to kick, scream, holler, whatever you got to do to stop that from happening. But you got to be strategic with it. So, yeah, I mean, he gets online a little bit too much and cry about it, in a sense, but when they come in after you, you're going to have some type of reaction. And I'd rather have him that type of reaction than his first comments, what he opened up the show with about, shoot, steal, kill, whatever. That's the wrong way to approach it in his situation. He's not a street dude. Nobody's not looking at him. He's not a type of guy that, all eyes are not on.
Black tie.
Right, black tie. They want the ego.
Hold on, man.
Ego can get you in trouble sometimes, though.
When he said he think he,
and if you are going to say something like that, say it off camera. Okay. Just have a one-on-one and say, hey, it's not going to go like you think it's going to go. We can handle it this way, or we're going to have some problems and some issues. You can say that in private. Everybody want an audience, though. I understand. Everybody wants the audience. Everybody wants the comments and the admiration to carry them through situations and so forth. I'm not like that. But he should be sensitive. When somebody coming after your money that you worked hard for and your kids and the children that you love, be sensitive and let people know, hey, I'm not going to be a pushover when it comes to these things. But I'm going to go back to what I said the previous time. Go get your kids. Go get your kids. You ain't have to worry about pushing out that type of money. But most men, I know in some of those cases, they not going to do that. But he should be trying to do that. And until he do that, then I really can't roll with him too hard. So
Mac, I keep telling you to go get them kids, man. He ain't with all that. He ain't with all of that. Listen, I want some psychoeducational real quick. You know what I mean? And for way I view sensitivity, I don't view it as a character trait as much as I view it as situational. Like, for instance, when I was younger, I had a stepfather who I would say he was going to do this and say he was going to do that, and he never came through. He always would bluff, right? So as an adult man, when somebody commits to me or says they're going to do something for me and they don't do it, yes, I am sensitive to that. I don't know if that means I'm a sensitive human or a sensitive person, but there are things and actions that I am sensitive to, and I don't have a problem dealing with that. That's something I got to deal with, obviously, because it's something that was triggered when I was younger, right? But I do have an issue when, someone just automatically throws out, oh, well, you're sensitive. You know what I mean? I do take a little bit. I do get drawn back a little bit. Again, that's a me problem. Chris is right. I shouldn't be getting offended by that. But I'm just being honest and being vulnerable right now, telling you I do get sensitive to that type of stuff because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that you said you was going to do something and you don't do it. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Chris.
I wasn't saying you shouldn't get offended. I'm just saying I thought you asked me personally.
No,
so I was just saying how I reflect. Huh?
I think you're right though. I think what you said was right. I don't think that I shouldn't be offended by somebody calling me sensitive. Because it's not a bad thing to be sensitive to something, especially. I mean, it's a bad thing, but it's also not like a character trait. It's something look, I'm sensitive to this because I've been hurt in the past, and I'm emotionally vulnerable to these type of actions. You know what I mean? So calling me sensitive is offensive in a way, but if we can have honest conversation, I'm gonna say, look, I don't like that you call me sensitive, but I do want to explain to you, my perspective, so you understand. If it's somebody that's important to me, I'm not going to be doing that with every person on the street. You know what I mean? But if it's somebody that's important to me and I'm in a relationship with, whether it be friendship or marriage, then I'm going to take the time to be like, look, I'm sensitive to these things because of a certain thing. But let me ask the chat. I mean, I only got Lawrence and Lisa in here popping off, but that's all I can see anyway. But is sensitivity okay? Put it in the chat. Let me know. Give me your comments. We got it's almost about 400 people watching. Let's talk about it. But before I moved on, Q, did you want to say something on that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think sensitivity is cool, and you can be sensitive about it, and say how you feel. I'm saying the stigma of men, especially black men, expressing that sensitivity.
Sure.
Like, there's a stigma on us. Like, we can't do that. Somebody's gonna tell us, "Oh, you a B," or you weak, man. Like, I don't want to hear that. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, and we should be able to do that without it being a stigma on us across the planet to not be able to say, what we're sensitive about. Like, if I get burned by a lighter, I'm gonna say ouch. You can't call me weak because I said ouch. Like, it's fire. So it's like, that's what I mean about expressing it.
Real quick, one word answer, man. I want to know if I'm going into two different rooms and expressing my emotions and my sensitivity, which room is it harder to exist in? A room full of women or a room full of men? But hey, I want to talk to y'all about my sensitivities. Which one's gonna be rougher? Big Mac, men or women?
It's gonna be women 100% of the time because men gonna understand your plight. Men understand men's struggle. I mean, no matter what echelon or what type of man or how high up they are or how low you are, men understand other men's plight and struggle. So we're always gonna, support one another. Pretty much. But the women, they gonna tell you to suck it up, stop crying, because, and that's not because they really truly feel that way. It because they want to get over, and they gonna say and do what they have to do in most cases. So things are always in their favor instead of in yours. But when you try to get things in your favor, and I hate to bring politics into this, how Republicans and Democrats act. They both trying to get things in their favor all the time. And it's no difference between men and women. And women got the edge and that they could cry, they could shed the crocodile tears and get sympathy and everything else and GoFundMe's raised. A man try to do that, we gonna get clowned. So it is what it is. But like I say, you got to know the environment that you operate in, and you got to expect that. And you got to be prepared. So as long as you expect that, you can deal with anything, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, man, you said it, man. I mean, you turned a one-word answer to a 600-word essay, but
I get a little sensitive sometimes,
yo. Brother Chris, man, men or women, man, what room is going to be harder to play in?
I would say women as well, because they see the way the world paints us nowadays is like what Big Mac was saying. Like, we can't express ourselves, and the women be like, you're a wimp. Yeah, you're not a real man, So I would definitely say women.
What about you, Brother Q?
I'm gonna say men, bro. Like, I don't know. I ain't got this good panel of friends like that where we can open up. Most of the time it's gonna be like, bro, what you crying about? Like, you weak. Like, if I come to my wife or people, women I know, they usually be like, oh, I feel what you're saying. They'll give me some advice, but I feel like it's men.
Yeah, I would have said men too, man. We split on this with 50-50 because I would have said men too, man. I I don't know. So I don't know what brothers y'all hanging around, man. But
hey, bro, y'all got the info. Contact, hit me up, man. I got you back.
Big man, I mean, where you grow up, man? I forgot where you grow up at, man.
I'm a country boy, man. I grew up in between Louisiana, Houston, Texas, and so forth. So
yeah, that was the point I was gonna make, man. It sounds like a Southern thing, man, because if you're Midwest, you can't do that on Q.
No.
We got something we call the dozens. We joning, we capping, doing all kind of stuff, man. It ain't going down like that. But something that Big Mac said made me kind of go to another question, and then somebody said in the chat too. I mean, but I saw somebody say, where did it go? Oh yeah, if he says something violent, then he's violent, right? So, have y'all ever been in a situation where you've been like emotionally hurt and your bitterness and anger took over, and it took over your ability to think and act clearly, and you just lashed out in a ridiculous way? Like, has that ever happened to you? I'm gonna start with you, brother Q.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you know, Joe, but yeah, in Minnesota, man, like me and my wife, we was getting into a little spat, and I don't want to take too long, but we was getting to a little spat, so we was like, man, let's just go to the beach. Got the kids, got in the car, go to the beach, making a left turn on 66. Man hops in my way, white man, I'm sorry to say, but he hops in my way, like not even my fault, his fault. He inebriated. And he hits the top of the car, called, he said, you and your N-word children, so I U-turn, hop out the car on him, punch him, get locked up, man.
Oh,
like,
damn,
yeah,
you did him?
Yeah, knocked him out. They're talking about, oh, you killed them, what the bam. And it's like, this is not me being tough or nothing. This is like just the anger,
Yeah.
like and my wife, she was already trying to calm me down from us having our little spat that wasn't even really serious, but about which beach we should go to.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even very serious at all,
It
but
was already a little escalated.
yeah, and him saying this about my kids, like through the car and slamming on my car, like, dude, you don't even got to walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is me making my left turn. So, but like my wife always said, you should have just kept going. Like I U-turned and came back, hopped out the car, like, what's up? He hit me with the brim of his hat, like, what you gonna do? Call me in again, hit me with the brim of his hat. And this is real life. This is no cap, this is not no lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, hit me with the brim of his cap, and I just reacted. You know what I'm saying? Hopped in the car, probably should have just went to the beach, but I tried to go to the crib and got caught by the police. Like, but I should have, because I shouldn't have lashed out like that. Like, that was one of the moments, like, my anger just took over me, bro.
Get it, man. I already know what Big Mac gonna say. Big Mac gonna say he had that ass whooping coming. All right, but
Sure.
but I'm gonna ask you, man. How many years ago was that, Q?
That was I'll say about 7 years ago.
Okay, so that elevated you. That moment obviously elevated you. Got locked up and everything. You had time to sit with it.
Yeah.
So now
bro.
back, we're dealing with your higher self right now. Like, what would your higher self tell that version of Q how to respond in that moment?
First of all, I wouldn't even started with my wife about which beach to go to. I'd have been like, okay, babe, this the one we going to. That would have stopped all that pig. Like, so that's the first thing I would have did. So to all the men out here, sometimes, okay, just to say, okay, babe, you ain't got to control everything. You're going to be the leader, but let her lead sometimes, or most of the times, however you feel. But that would have stopped everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't, you said that back and forth wasn't worth it, basically what you said.
Yeah, it wasn't.
All right.
It was petty.
Because I'm thinking about, the way my therapist brain work, I'm thinking about you in that moment as a black man and how that really could have went. I'm thinking about your children in that moment, how they observing. I'm thinking about your wife, and you know what I mean? So I'm like, dang, there's a lot in there, you know what I mean? But I can't say that I would have done or acted any differently in that moment because, bro, that's intense. But Chris, man, same to you, man. You had a moment where you lost your ability to think.
Yeah, when I was younger, we had I hoop, and it had a city tournament. We lost the tournament, and then after that, I was really mad because you put in work. And then I got stopped by the police, and I didn't know why they had stopped me. But I didn't have my license on me. I had a license, didn't have my license on me, and they pulled me over. And me, yes sir, yes ma'am, it up. I'm proper, everything. But at this moment, they looked up and they asked me if I had my license, and I didn't have it on me. So they cuffed me, man. They were like, hey, you're driving without a license. But I was like, hey, you can go look it up. You look up everything else. You know what I mean? I don't have no warrants or nothing. And I just kind of, lost it, man, and was outside of myself. And then they were going to tow my car. So that made me even hotter too. And I just got outside of myself, man. And after that, they actually took me to jail. I acted a fool, man, like I've never done before. And I think one of them realized that they were doing me wrong, whatever. And like 3 hours later, they let me go, like with no incidents, even though I had acted the way I did. And from then on out, I told myself, man, the one thing you need to do is understand why you do things. Like, just don't do nothing for no, and don't understand why you do it. That means something else is in control, right? And God gave me the ability, to have that sound mind. And ever since then, I've really been more of a logical, emotions last type person. But man, yeah, I lost it that day, man. And that's funny. You don't even remember stuff until like you bring it up right now. And I didn't even, I guess I blocked it, but I did act a fool. I acted a fool because I didn't feel like there was no reason to take me to jail. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then tow my car and, so it was a lot of different things, emotions pinned up. But ever since then, I've really, been able to control my emotions a lot more now, especially I have my wife and my kids too. So yeah, man, that was one of the places that I don't want to go to no more.
Yeah. Nah, man, you said a lot right there, man. I don't it's amazing, especially when you guys of a certain age. You know what I mean? What you remember, what you hold on to, man, how you can recall that memory. You had blocked it out, but when it was time to recall it, you know what I mean? I bet if you close your eyes, you can actually feel the emotions again and go right back to the space that you was in when it all happened, which tells me, might be some stuff to deal with right there, Big Mac, I know that was yesterday for you. You probably what you do yesterday that
Hey man, I know how to pick and choose battles. I ain't want no smoke yesterday.
Yeah. I know that's right, man. Do you have any moments?
Go ahead. Like I said, I'm kind of a unicorn in this world of madness, and that's because I was raised by my grandmother. But I'm gonna say this, and I appreciate you two brothers, expressing everything. But I'm gonna plead the fifth on this question because I don't know if the statute of limitations done ran out yet. So I'm not gonna say exactly, but I will say this. Honestly, I mean, I don't never lose my cool. I've raised by older people, raised in the church. If something really bothers me and get to me, nobody's going to know about it. And I'm going to move in a way where it's to my advantage. I'm never going to fight a fight that I have a disadvantage in. I'll come back the next day and I get you when I plot it all out and I thought it out. Out of plan how to get away with it, how to do this, do that. That's how I go about things. I don't never lose my cool. I don't let people control my emotion or let the environment control me. I try to control the environment. That's how I look at things and approach things. And I gotta, like I say, give praise to my grandmother and being raised around older people into the church, because those are people I've respected a lot. So when I did do something, I have to do something, I made sure it was quiet. I don't need an audience. I just need for myself to know and the person I'm dealing with to know. And that's it. But I'm going to plead the fifth to this question. Not going to say too much.
Let me ask you this, though.
Yes, sir.
You say you feel like you always been like that? Or is that something you had to develop? That's just the way it was in you, huh?
I always been like that. Okay. I was known kind of as the quiet child, getting seen rattled by anything. I don't get overhyped by, the building. The building be on fire right now. I'm going to just get up and say, oh, building on fire. I'm going to just walk out quiet, cool, call the police, the fire truck, whatever. But I mean, I think that's just how I was born. That's just in me. But I like to plot things out. I
Yeah.
like to make sure I have the advantage. I have everything lined up. If I am doing something wrong or want to get out of control, I'm going to make sure everything's in place for me to come out winning, no matter what.
I feel you, man. I know me personally, man. I used to I lose my cool all the time, and Chris been a witness to a lot of it, brother. I mean, it got to a point where I'm watching my wife walk out of buildings, just out of pure embarrassment. You know what I mean? And I know it was basically when I was coaching, right? Because like Chris said, you put in work. I know everything that I had to do personally to get these teams to the tournaments, all the little things and fundraising and scrambling for gym time, all of the things that I had to do to make this happen. And whenever I felt like somebody was treating me unfairly or cheating me, I would lose it, bro. I would lose it. You know what I mean? Or if somebody was somebody on my team was cheating the game in a way, or I felt unappreciated for my effort. I feel like I can tie that really, really closely to my lived experience as a black man, right? I feel like no matter what I did, if it went unappreciated, or if if it was if I was being unfairly treated, I could not deal with that, bro. I could not handle it. I had to recognize, why is this bothering me so much? Because every single time when it was over, I had so much shame and guilt. Sometimes, like we be on the road traveling with these tournaments, and they be out enjoying whatever city we was in. I know specifically we was in New Orleans. They was enjoying New Orleans, and I was in the hotel room in the dark in my closet and missed the whole experience of them being in the city because I was so upset and my anger took over, my bitterness took over to a point that I didn't even recognize that the journey wasn't even on the court. It was way beyond anything that was going on in that court, man. And that's something I had to really sit down with myself and deal with. And I got through that in therapy. And I look back on that time and I'm like, bro, um, that's embarrassing. I really felt my wife's embarrassment while she kept walking out of gyms. People be in the crowd talking about what's wrong with them. Oh my God, who brought that guy? Just another angry brother. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I was getting, man. But listen, man, I told you I would get y'all out of here on time, man. So I do want to ask y'all a couple of things before we go, man. What do you think it looks like? What do you think healing looks like for black men from your experience and your lived experience who have been hardened by pain and betrayal? Like, what does healing look like? Big Mac, let me start with you, brother.
I mean, I think healing starts with having a great support system, and that's one of the things that I've always had. I have a great support system, just like the brother was saying. He don't have men, that he could go, cry on their shoulder or talk to, and they're going to support him and so forth. I've always had that, and that's what I invest in a lot, and I hang around people with that mentality, and there I could talk to them about anything and so forth and so on, and they're going to support me, and they also going to tell me when I'm right. They also going to tell me when I'm dead wrong, and that's what I love about the friends and some family that I have in my life. Healing starts with a great support system because you can vent to them and they're going to give you great advice and you could go from there. Even though, Joe, I know therapy is the way to go and we should talk to a professional and so forth, but just having those people you can reach right quick and those friends that's going to have your back, man, that's priceless to me. That's priceless. So I think that's where healing starts at. Build you up a support system and you will see a big difference from there. And like I say, you brothers can hit me up anytime. So
I don't disagree with none of that, man. I really don't. Q, what you got, man? What do you feel?
I like what Max said. I feel like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though it ain't always men who you can talked to in certain ways. There's other support systems you got. So I feel like that too. I also feel like it's, looking into your wrongs and like just reflecting and taking a step back and trying to fix those things too. As long as if you don't look at yourself and what you're doing wrong, you're always gonna think you're right. So, and you probably won't ever heal. You won't ever change because you thought you was doing the right thing the whole time. But yeah, I definitely agree with Mac. It's that and looking at yourself, man. Like support system is definitely one of the biggest things to have for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that too, man. Chris, what you got, man? How you feeling?
Man, I was a loner for most of my life, never had a best friend, never really did the little cliques and stuff like that. So it was hard for me to understand. Well, like both of these brothers said, first Q, he's, you got to self-reflect, but you can't do that if you're always asking the question and you're answering it yourself, right? You got to have somebody around you to do that. And I agree with Big Mac too, to where you need that support system. But since I didn't have it, I was like, I don't know which way to go. But one of the things, I know what not to do, and I know what I don't want. So what I'm going to do is be more intentional to look for opportunities to be that person for somebody else and to edify them. And then what God did, just brought the right people in my life for me helping other people, man. I'm looking for ways to edify them. And then that also helps me because now they felt better. Now they're going to be more open. Oh, I can talk to him. So now when I do something wrong, because I hold everybody to that accountability, like if you're in my life, we should be pushing each other or we don't need to be in each other's life type thing. But that ability for me to be intentional and to help me get that support system around me. Now I have the support system, but it started with me, which I believe all things do. All your problems start with you first, especially looking at yourself. But to heal, you should look at, what can I do for others? And then come back to me. That's what worked for me. So I'm going to leave that there.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful.
That's dope. Yeah, that's dope.
That's dope. I do want to, before we close, I got to address this, man, because it's really relevant to the story that Q told. And I want to know how y'all feel as men, bro. Like, as black men, like, if he doesn't get out of that car and defend his family, is he looked upon as less than a man in that moment? And I know this is a little bit off topic, but I definitely want to address it. And let's be quick about it because we got to close out. But Big Mac, go ahead, Chris. No, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, you got Big Mac?
No, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, as the leader, it really doesn't matter. If you didn't get out the car, that would have been the right decision, no matter what anybody else thought, because your number one priority is protect your wife and your kids, and that's just not physically, but emotionally too. So you could start a chain reaction with your kids, your wife, to where they're going to think that's okay to do. No matter what they're feeling or looking at you at that moment, man, I can't do this because I need to protect them emotionally, spiritually, and physically, not just physically. So I think it wouldn't even if he would have been looked bad about from his wife, it didn't matter in the long term. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. So
100% agree with you. The Big Mac, is there pressure still to get out of that car? Is there still pressure on you as a black man, as a man, to get out of that car and do what Q did, do what he did?
I'm gonna say this. I don't think it's any pressure, but as a man, it's just some things you got to be willing to die for. And I'll keep it short and sweet like that.
Understood. But you, Q, actually in it.
Yeah, I was just gonna tell you, my wife, man. I ain't trying to make this super personal, but my wife, she a tough cookie. She was like good form. Yeah. She came to bail me out right away.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, but that don't mean it wasn't no repercussions to that though. So I feel Chris, what you saying, like it was definitely later repercussions, like when my kids feel like it's okay to put hands on people. So yeah. But yeah, my wife, man.
Yeah, I do, like, man. Hey. I'm honestly surprised she didn't get out the car too. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not thinking straight. Yeah, If you listen to sis, I know you. I know how you get down. Last question, man, and we'll close it out. So, man, it's kind of like your final thoughts on the matter. And if you got anything you want to promote, we got a pretty big audience right now, so it's an opportunity for you to do that. So, just answer the question with your final thought, and then if you got something to promote, go ahead and do that. But I want to know what each one of y'all feel is a good piece of advice you'd give to Black men who are struggling with anger or resentment right now in the moment. And I'm gonna start with you, Big Mac.
Well, my final thoughts on that is, and I said this not too long ago, get you a great support system. Get you some men that you could be 100 with, and they'll be 100 with you. Going to tell you, the rights and the wrongs. Going to critique you. Going to hold you accountable. That's the best. One of the best things you could do. And also, just know the environment that you're playing in. If you know you're going against people that don't like you, you shouldn't be that affected by it because they don't like you. So, just get your mind right. Talk to a Joe, a therapist, uh, and just be prepared when you get ready to go to battle or war with anyone. And that's even be prepared for the good things too. So that's my best advice. Get the support system, know the environment you operating in, and be prepared and read up on what you need to do in order to succeed at the end of the day. But I just want to promote. I'm gonna take my time to promote your show, Joe. This show is a great show. I watched it last week. I couldn't watch it all. I was at the gas station pumping gas and filling people's cars up, trying to get them tips. They got certain people out there, goddesses out there that we got to do stuff for and this and that. So, I'm doing my thing. But I just want to say I appreciate you for inviting me on. I appreciate the brothers. Your show is a great show. It's going to be a great success. So I want everybody to tune in every week for your show and support you as best as possible.
Oh, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you again.
Q, what's your final thoughts, man? Your advice to brothers struggling with the anger and resentment today.
My advice would be, bro, don't take everything personal, because that's the quickest way to get angry. So you never know what somebody going through. They might not be taking it out on you, and you just never know. If you give it a second, if you don't take it personally, then you might be able to tame your anger. So that's my biggest thing. Like, don't take everything personal. Everything somebody say to you ain't directed towards you, ain't trying to stab you, like in the heart where it hurt, because everything is not personal. Like, they might be going through a tough time. So it's kind of probably the illest way I could think to deal with pure anger, because I mean, anger is what, like, you probably gonna end up fighting or getting out of your body. And if you don't take it personal, you could shrug it off your shoulders, like, I don't even care if that's what that ain't me, like. So that's how I feel, man. Like, yeah, don't take everything personal, because it's not.
Anything you want to promote, good brother?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, y'all. My rap name Fly Robotics, man. I'm coming out with a very good and positive album. Is a little personal, like I dive into some things that I've been through in my life, but it's mostly positive, and that'll be out on December 4th, and it's called Authentic Intelligence.
Man, beautiful music, man. If you in my car with me, every couple of songs you're gonna hear one of Q's songs pop on my playlist, man. It's inevitable. Uh, I apologize to my audience who was in loving the theme song from last week. We had a couple production hiccups today, but Q is the writer, producer, and performer on my theme song, and we working to get that song completely released. You know what I mean? So a lot of people asked me about that last week, man. So you got some homework, Q. People waiting for that song, man.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you, man.
Brother Chris, man, what you got for us?
Well, I mean, both of these brothers are both insightful. I would say, man, don't do the fight alone. So many times we want to do stuff like with willpower, right? We want to do it alone. But Joe, me and you have lots of conversations, and I was never big on therapy. Like, I thought I could do anything by myself, man. And when I started talking to, like I said, being intentional and inviting other people in my life, it really, really helped me. So I could just talk about that. Look for help. And you can kind of tell if you need that help with the decisions and which way you're trying to go in your life. And if you keep doing the same things over and over, you might not be able to see what's really hindering you. And that's what therapy does, man. You've opened my eyes to that, Joe. So I'm 100% on that, on the board now, as far as finding out who you are and getting there, man. And I guess what I want to promote is my company, thebusinessminds.com. We help you with the strategy and the software to help you build a solid foundation for a successful business. And yeah, check us out at thebusinessminds.com. We got a free entrepreneurial community just for anybody who's taking their vision to a successful business. Thanks, Joe.
No, I appreciate you, man. If you go to my website, realuconsulting.com, you'll see some of Chris's work, man. Another brother I lean on. When I first got to office, I asked the brother to come up here and see it, and we go have some lunch. The man sat on the couch. We never made it to the man. I don't know about all this therapy stuff that you're doing up here. Brother sat on my couch, man, and didn't get up for an hour and a half, man. We never got no food, no nothing, man. Told me I sat in the chair. Next thing I know, I was taking notes, man. Tried to pay me on his way out. I said, "No, it's all good, man. We good, man. We good. You my guy, man. We got to do that." But yeah, man. Listen, I want all the brothers out there to that you're dealing with anger and resentment, man. First, I want you to acknowledge that that's happening, and it's showing up in your behavior. And if it's showing up in a way that you don't like, then I want you to take accountability for that and take some actions to deal with it. You know, and ask yourself a very basic question: what am I really mad at? Because you'll hear me say often, if you listen to me, anger is a secondary emotion. So it usually signals fear, sadness, and maybe a host of other emotions, but those two are right at the top. So when you're mad, I don't care if you're the biggest thug on the block, either you are sad about something or you are afraid, and it is manifesting itself as anger. And you got to deal with that, man, because out here as black men, anger, resentment, bitterness can get us killed, brothers. It can get us killed, you know. And there's plenty of risk out there that threaten our existence. There's already enough. So if we can eliminate one and take one off the table, then I advise you to get into one of these spaces, one of these communities like you see in today, one of these offices like I'm in today, and just talk, man. Just talk. Because vulnerability is the key, brother. And I'm not saying that because that's the name of the show. It's the key. You cannot heal what you do not reveal. You holding on to them secrets. You holding on to all them emotions because for whatever reason, because you're afraid of dealing with the fact that you need to let that stuff go. But that vulnerability is not a weakness. It's a strength. And it is the most masculine thing you can do. I can't say that enough. And you can find me on realuconsulting.com, Joe Corley on all platforms. Look me up. I'm really trying to get these followers up so I can promote what I'm doing. For me, it goes way beyond the money. I would do what I do for free. Unfortunately, I don't do it for free. So, I've moved from free to fee.
You go start pocket watching, Joe.
Yeah, you start pocket. Yeah, start
Go ahead and stats out that, Joe.
Yeah, let me. That's all I'll say about that. No numbers involved, but it is a fee involved with it now. So, come holler at me, man. I'm trying to get these numbers up, but I am on a mission to spread this word about vulnerability amongst black men. I mean, if I can just reach one, and that one reaches two, and you know how it goes, and then we can really make some changes in our community, and that's really what's important to me. That's really what matters. And but hey, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, because I'm in Texas, whatever time it is where you are, Google what time it is, 7 p.m. at your coast, and we'll get back to you. But y'all have a good night. I'll see you next week. Until then, vulnerability is the new sexy.